Many people spend their lives asking for a better life. They ask for better opportunities, better relationships, better finances, better peace. They look to the future and say, one day things will change. But the truth we often avoid is this: life does not change because we want it to. Life changes when we do, and not in the dramatic moments we like to talk about, but in the quiet, unseen decisions we make every single day. The direction of your life is not determined by one bold leap, but by thousands of small steps you take when no one is watching. We live in a world that promises quick transformation, instant success, and overnight results. But lasting change has never worked that way. A better life is not built in a single moment of inspiration. It is built in daily discipline. It is built in what you choose to do when you wake up, how you respond when things don't go your way, what you feed your mind, where you invest your time, and which habits you allow to rule you. You may not feel powerful in those moments, but those moments are powerful enough to shape your future. A better life is not built by wishes, but by repeated daily choices. Most people know how to wish. They know how to dream, how to imagine something better than what they are living in now. They know how to say, I hope things improve, or I wish my life were different. But wishing has never changed a life. Dreams alone have never carried anyone from where they are to where they long to be. A better life begins when a person understands that hope without action is only a pleasant thought, not a transforming force. Every day, life places choices quietly in front of us. They don't arrive with trumpets or announcements. They show up in ordinary moments, when the alarm rings in the morning, when a difficult conversation needs to be handled, when temptation appears, when laziness whispers that tomorrow will be easier. In those moments, we are shaping our lives, whether we realize it or not. What you choose consistently becomes the path you walk, and that path always leads somewhere. No one drifts into a better life by accident. Many people are waiting for motivation to arrive before they act. They say they will change when they feel ready, when circumstances improve, when fear disappears. But readiness is often the reward of obedience, not the requirement. Action comes first, feelings follow later. The life you want is not waiting for you to feel inspired. It is waiting for you to be disciplined. Daily choices, even uncomfortable ones, carry a quiet power that wishes never will. A single good decision may seem small, almost insignificant. Waking up on time, speaking with kindness instead of anger, choosing to learn instead of escape, choosing integrity when no one is watching. These moments do not feel heroic, but they are deeply consequential. Over time, small decisions accumulate. They form habits, and habits form character. Character, in turn determines the direction of a life. What looks ordinary today becomes destiny tomorrow. There are people who pray for a better future but refuse to change their present behavior. They ask for strength while avoiding responsibility. They ask for peace while holding on to destructive patterns. But life does not respond to words alone. It responds to alignment. When daily choices move in the same direction as your prayers, change begins to take root. Until then, frustration grows because deep down, we know when we are hoping for results we are unwilling to work for. It requires consistency. You will fail at times. You will make mistakes. You will fall short of your own expectations, but repeated right choices, even imperfectly made, begin to outweigh past failures. Each day becomes a new opportunity to choose again. Yesterday's mistakes do not have the final word unless you allow them to dictate today's actions. Some people look at others and call them lucky, not realizing they are witnessing the fruit of long-term choices. They see success, stability, peace, and purpose, but they did not see the years of unseen discipline that produced them. No one lives a strong life by chance. It is built deliberately, one decision at a time, often in private, often without applause. If you want a better life, you must choose better daily actions. Not someday, not when it feels easier. Today. The life you are living right now is largely the result of choices you made yesterday, last month, and years ago. And the life you will live tomorrow is being shaped right now by what you decide to do with this moment. Small actions done consistently shape character and destiny. This truth does not shout, it whispers. It does not demand attention, yet it governs every life. People often look for turning points that feel dramatic, moments that divide life into before and after. But most lives are not changed in a single instant. They are changed gradually through choices so small they hardly seem worth noticing. Yet those small choices, repeated day after day, are quietly forming the person you are becoming. Not by force, but by persistence. One drop does nothing. 1,000 drops seem harmless, but over time, the stone is no longer the same. What you allow yourself to do repeatedly settles into your spirit. The way you speak to people, the way you handle disappointment, the way you treat responsibility, the way you respond when no one is watching, these patterns are writing a story inside you, and that story eventually becomes visible in your life. Many people believe they will act differently when the moment truly matters. Many people believe they will act differently. They think courage will appear when the pressure is high. Discipline will come when the stakes are serious. Integrity will rise when the test is great. But life rarely works that way. When the moment arrives, you do not suddenly become someone new. You become more fully who you already are. The habits you practiced in quiet moments take control in loud ones. The small actions you repeated without thought step forward and speak for you. Destiny is not usually decided in public. It is decided in private routines. It is decided in what you do when you're tired, when you're bored, when you're frustrated, when no one is applauding. A person who chooses patience daily does not need to search for peace later. It has already taken root within them. A person who practices honesty in small matters does not struggle to stand firm in great ones. The soul learns from repetition. There is danger in dismissing small actions as unimportant. What feels minor today can become monumental over time. A careless attitude repeated can harden into arrogance. A small excuse repeated can grow into a lifestyle of avoidance. A neglected discipline repeated can quietly rob a person of strength and clarity. No one intends to weaken their character, but many do so unknowingly by allowing small compromises to pass unchallenged. In the same way, small acts of faithfulness carry tremendous power, showing up when it would be easier to withdraw, listening when it would be easier to speak, choosing effort when comfort is available. These actions may never be celebrated, but they are never wasted. They are shaping your inner life, and your inner life always shapes your outer one. People often envy the outcome without understanding the process. They admire wisdom without seeing the years of learning. They admire confidence without seeing the discipline behind it. They admire stability without seeing the daily choices that produced it. What looks like destiny from a distance is often just consistency up close. The road someone walks publicly was paved privately, step by step, choice by choice. You are not powerless in this process. Even now, even with mistakes behind you, the future is still being influenced by what you do today. The smallest shift, if repeated, can begin to redirect a life. One healthier choice, one disciplined habit, one honest decision, repeated again tomorrow, and the next day starts to reshape both character and direction. Change does not always feel significant at first, but it is faithful. Life responds to patterns. What you practice becomes natural. What you repeat becomes familiar. What you allow becomes normal. And what becomes normal eventually defines you. That is why daily actions matter so deeply. They are not just filling time, they are forming a person. You may not see immediate results from doing the right thing consistently. Growth often happens below the surface long before it appears above it. Roots form before fruit. Strength develops before confidence shows. Character is being built even when nothing seems to be changing. And while the world may overlook these quiet moments, they are guiding you somewhere, shaping who you are and where your life is headed, one small action at a time. You cannot pray your way out of habits you behave your way into. That statement can feel uncomfortable because it challenges a belief many people quietly hold, that desire alone is enough to produce change. Prayer, hope, intention, and longing all have their place, but they were never meant to replace responsibility. They were meant to strengthen it. A person may sincerely ask for deliverance, peace, or breakthrough, but if daily behavior continues in the same direction, life will not suddenly change course. Habits are not formed overnight. They are built through repetition, through choices made again and again until they no longer feel like choices at all. What begins as a decision slowly becomes a routine, and eventually it becomes a way of life. That is why habits are powerful. They operate quietly, often below conscious awareness, shaping thoughts, reactions, and outcomes. When someone tries to escape the consequences of a habit without addressing the behavior that created it, frustration is inevitable. Many people are asking for relief from situations they are reinforcing every day. They ask for peace while feeding their mind with chaos. They ask for discipline while repeatedly choosing comfort. They ask for clarity while avoiding truth. There is a deep conflict when words reach upward, but actions continue downward. Life responds to alignment. When behavior and desire move in opposite directions, progress stalls. This does not mean prayer is meaningless. It means prayer is incomplete without obedience. Prayer is not an escape from effort. It is a call to it. It sharpens awareness. It exposes patterns. It invites strength to do what must be done, but it does not override choices. A person cannot continue walking the same path and expect to arrive at a different destination simply because they ask for it. Habits shape the environment of the soul. What you repeatedly expose yourself to, what you repeatedly tolerate, what you repeatedly excuse begins to feel normal. Over time, normal becomes comfortable, and comfortable becomes defended. That is why habits are difficult to break, not because they are stronger than us, but because they are familiar. They promise relief, distraction, or control, even when they are destructive. And as long as behavior remains unchanged, the habit remains protected. There is a quiet honesty required to change. It begins with admitting without blame or self-hatred that some outcomes are connected to repeated actions. Not everything in life is within our control, but far more is influenced by habit than most people want to admit. Growth begins when a person stops asking only for rescue and starts asking for the courage to change direction. Behavior is a language. It speaks louder than intentions. You may sincerely want a different life, but life listens to what you do, not just what you say. Each repeated action is a statement of priority. Each habit declares what truly matters in practice. When those declarations conflict with desires, the conflict is not resolved by wishing harder. It is resolved by choosing differently. Breaking a habit is rarely dramatic. It often begins with discomfort. It begins with saying no when yes feels easier. It begins with interruption, pausing before acting, creating space where impulse once ruled. These moments are rarely celebrated. They feel small, even lonely, but they are powerful because they weaken the pattern that once felt unbreakable. Many people wait for a moment of overwhelming conviction before changing. They believe once they feel strong enough, they will act. But strength is often the result of action, not the requirement. Each time a person chooses against a harmful habit, even imperfectly, that choice builds capacity. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes manageable, and what felt natural loses its grip. Habits are teachers. They reveal where discipline has been avoided and where awareness has been absent. They also reveal where growth is possible. The same repetition that built the habit can be used to dismantle it. New behaviors practiced consistently begin to rewire the mind and reshape desire. Change does not happen by force alone, but by replacement, one pattern slowly giving way to another. It removes the illusion that change must arrive from the outside. It places responsibility back into the hands of the individual, not as a burden, but as an opportunity. You are not stuck because you are weak. You are stuck because patterns have been left unchallenged. And patterns can be challenged. The life someone lives tomorrow is being reinforced by what they repeat today. Habits do not disappear because they are unwanted. They disappear when they are interrupted. Prayer can provide strength, clarity, and resolve, but the work of change happens in behavior. And each day presents another chance to choose actions that lead somewhere new. Change does not begin someday, it begins today. In ordinary moments, most people postpone change because they are waiting for the right time. They tell themselves they will start when life slows down, when circumstances improve, when motivation feels stronger, when fear is gone. But the truth is, the perfect moment never arrives. Life keeps moving, responsibilities keep piling up, and someday quietly turns into never. Change that is delayed is usually change that is denied. Today often feels too small to matter. It looks ordinary, unremarkable, and crowded with routine. But it is within these ordinary moments that transformation either begins or is avoided. The decision to speak honestly instead of staying silent, to take responsibility instead of making excuses, to act with intention instead of reacting on impulse. These moments do not feel life-changing at the time, yet they are the very places where new directions are formed. Many people believe change must feel dramatic to be real. They expect a rush of emotion, a sudden burst of clarity, a powerful experience that erases doubt and makes everything easy. But real change is usually quieter than that. It often begins with discomfort rather than excitement. It begins when a person chooses to do the right thing, even though it feels inconvenient, unfamiliar, or difficult. The first step toward a better life rarely feels inspiring. It feels necessary. Waiting for someday is appealing because it removes responsibility from the present. It allows a person to feel hopeful without being accountable. But life does not reward intention alone. It responds to action. Every day you remain in the same pattern, you are reinforcing it. Every day you delay, you are choosing continuation. Even inaction is a decision, and it always carries consequences. Today is powerful precisely because it is limited. You cannot relive yesterday, and you cannot control tomorrow. All you have is this moment, this choice, this opportunity to respond differently than you did before. Change does not require you to fix everything at once. It requires you to fix one thing now, one response, one habit, one attitude, one action taken with awareness. Ordinary moments reveal what truly governs a life. It is easy to promise change in the future, but the present exposes whether that promise has substance. How you handle frustration, how you speak when tired, how you use your time when no one is directing you. These are not small details. They are indicators of direction. The future you are moving toward is already visible in how you live today. Fear often disguises itself as waiting. People say they are not ready, but what they often mean is they are afraid of failing, afraid of discomfort, afraid of letting go of what is familiar. But familiarity is not the same as safety. Many people remain in patterns that drain them simply because those patterns are known. Change threatens the identity built around old behaviors, and that threat feels unsettling. Yet growth always requires leaving something behind. It means you are willing to try, willing to be uncomfortable, willing to accept that progress may be slow and imperfect, willing to take responsibility for what is within your control. Change grows through participation, not perfection. Each small step taken today weakens the hold of yesterday. The ordinary nature of today is what makes it accessible. You do not need a new environment or ideal conditions to begin. You begin where you are with what you have by choosing differently than you did before. Over time, those choices accumulate. What once felt forced becomes familiar. What once felt difficult becomes manageable. And what once felt impossible becomes part of who you are. It is transformed in lived moments. The decision to begin today may feel insignificant, but it is never neutral. It sets a direction, and direction, more than intensity, determines where a life ultimately goes. When daily actions align with purpose, transformation becomes inevitable. Many people live with a sense that something is missing, not because they lack ability or opportunity, but because their days are disconnected from their deepest intentions. They may know what they want their life to stand for, yet their routines move in a different direction. This quiet disconnect creates frustration because purpose without practice remains only an idea. Purpose is not meant to be an abstract thought reserved for rare moments of reflection. It is meant to guide how a person lives from one ordinary day to the next. When purpose stays in the mind but never reaches behavior, it weakens over time. But when daily actions begin to reflect what truly matters, even in small ways, something powerful begins to take place. Life starts to move with direction instead of drift. Many people believe transformation requires massive change all at once. They think aligning with purpose means abandoning everything familiar and starting over. In reality, alignment usually begins with small adjustments. It begins with asking whether today's choices are taking you closer to or further from the life you claim to want. Purpose is not proven by words spoken on inspired days. It is revealed by actions repeated on ordinary ones. Daily actions are the language of commitment. They show what a person truly values beyond what they say they value. When actions and purpose are misaligned, energy is wasted. A person feels busy but unfulfilled, active but ungrounded. But when actions begin to match intention, effort gains meaning. Even difficult tasks feel worthwhile because they are connected to something larger than the moment. Transformation becomes inevitable when alignment is consistent. One day of purposeful action is encouraging, but a pattern of purposeful action reshapes a life. Over time, choices that once required effort begin to feel natural. The mind adjusts, priorities shift. What once felt like sacrifice begins to feel like clarity. This is not because life becomes easier, but because it becomes more coherent. There is also peace and alignment. Much of inner conflict comes from living divided wanting one thing, but practicing another. When daily actions reflect purpose, that division begins to close. A person may still face challenges, but they face them with integrity. There is less self-deception, less regret, less internal resistance. The soul settles when life moves in the same direction it was meant to go. Purpose gives weight to small actions. A disciplined morning, a thoughtful conversation, an honest decision may seem insignificant on their own, But when they are connected to a clear sense of meaning, they become building blocks. Nothing feels wasted. Even setbacks are interpreted through purpose, not despair. They become lessons rather than defeats. Alignment also demands honesty. It requires a person to examine whether their routines truly serve their values or merely their comfort. This examination can be uncomfortable because it exposes gaps between intention and behavior. But awareness is the beginning of real change. Without it, purpose remains a comforting story rather than a guiding force. No one aligns perfectly every day. Transformation does not require flawlessness. It requires persistence. Each time a person realigns after drifting, they strengthen their commitment. Over time, the gap between who they are and who they want to be begins to narrow. Identity shifts slowly, not through grand declarations, but through repeated alignment. When daily actions and purpose walk together, growth is no longer accidental. It becomes directed. The future is not left to chance, but shaped by intention, practiced faithfully. Life begins to reflect what the heart has long desired, not because circumstances suddenly change, but because choices do. Transformation does not arrive as a sudden event. It unfolds quietly, day by day, as purpose moves from intention into action, and action becomes a way of life.